Okay, hello and good morning. Let's take a look at this. On your bell work, you should have a brand new sheet of paper and it should be labeled week 3 of the third marking period. Make sure you have a heading on your bell work. So this should be to February 1st, right here. Let's take a look at number 1. This is a perfect square, and this is a perfect square. So the answer is going to be 4x plus 1 and 4x minus 1. Okay? Number 1. Number 2, you have two minuses, so one's going to be a plus, one's going to be a minus. A times A. And so you're looking for a combination that's going to subtract to give you 6. So 2 times 8 is 16, and that subtracts to give you 6. So we want a 2 and an 8. And the middle sign is a minus, so we want that with the bigger number. And then the plus goes there. Okay? Now later this week you will have a test. Hopefully you turned your homework in. On a new sheet of paper, copy this one down. Okay, this is going to be a little harder. Notice that this number is bigger than 1. Okay, whenever you see that, they're going to be more difficult. Okay, here's how you do it. You do 3 times 5, the first and the last, and you get 15. Okay, negative 15. Now you're looking for a combination that gives you 2. So 3 times 5 is 15, and that gives you 2. And you want the middle one to be a minus and this one to be a plus. Okay? Now, the way you're going to do this is by group factoring. You're going to take each one of these and you're going to use this. So you're going to say 3p squared plus 3p right here. And then minus, let's see, minus 2p. And actually that's going to be minus 5p rather. Okay, don't put the 2p. And then minus 5. Okay, now watch what happens. You take this one and you factor out a 3 and a p, and you're left with p plus 1. This one's a minus, so you're going to take out a minus, and you're going to also take out that 5. So that's going to be p plus 1. So your final answer, since both of these are in common, is going to be p plus 1, and then 3p minus 5, and that should be your answer there. Okay, let's check it. Okay, this is on your worksheet today, and there it is. And it doesn't matter which one goes first or second. Okay, so what you're doing basically, just so you know, instead of the 2p, you're substituting the 3p and the 5p. Okay, that's what you're doing there. All right, let's try another one. These are a little harder, okay, but once you get the knack of it, you should be okay. So copy this one down, number 2. Okay. Now, again, this first term right here is bigger than 1. So A is greater than 1. That's what they say. So you multiply the first and the last. So 2 times 2 is 4. That's a positive 4. You're looking for a plus and a plus gives you a plus and a plus, so you're going to be adding. So 1 times 4 is going to add to give you that 5. In place of this 5, you're going to substitute this. So put 2n squared plus 1n, okay, plus 4n plus 2. This right here comes from this. Now you're going to group factor. So you're going to take out an n. So you're left with 2n plus 1 here. And then here you're going to take out a 2. So you're left with 2n plus 1. Basically these should be the same or you did something wrong. So you have 1 here and 1 there. So you take 1 out and you're left with n plus 2. And you're done. And that's how you do it. All right, I want you to try one. Try number 3. We'll work it together. So put 2v squared plus 11v plus 5. Okay? All right, so remember that sign chart? A plus and a plus is going to give you two pluses. So you're going to be adding to get that 11. Okay? So you do 2 times 5 is 10. Okay? You multiply the first and the last. And they're both pluses. So here you're going to go ahead and break this up as 1 times 10, because this is going to add up to give you 11. So in place of this 11, you're going to substitute these. So you're going to say 2v squared plus 1v, you got to add a v in there, plus 10v plus 5. Okay, now you should have 4 terms, 2 from here and then the first and the last. So here you're going to take out a v, so you're left with 2v plus 1. Here you're going to take out a 5, so you're left with 2v plus 1. Now this is in common, so it's going to be 2v plus 1 and then v plus 5. And it doesn't matter which order you go in. And if you want to check it, you can check it. This outer is 1v, this inner is 10v, and when you add that up, you get 11v, which is the middle term. All right, that's how we do this. It is going to be more of a challenge, okay, but your assignment for today is right here. So I want this first side right here, okay? And when we're done with the first side, and look at your answer here on this one. So the first thing they did was they factored out a 3 here. So be careful with that. And then after you factor out a 3, then you got to factor it the way I just showed you. Tomorrow, we'll do this backside. All right, have a good day. Let's talk about geometry now. Okay, so on geometry right here, there are 3 ways to prove triangles are similar. Okay? So what are they? That's right, one of them is angle similarity. Okay? One is side angle side similarity, and one is side similarity. Okay? The next one, they want you to translate this, so you want to put a 2 here and a negative 3 here. So the new point, or the answer for A, would be a negative 3, a negative 3, and then this one would be a negative 9. Okay? This one, when you reflect over the y equals x, remember y equals x is a 45, you switch them. So you just switch these 2 right here. So the reflection would be negative 6 and negative 5. And then finally, when you reflect over the x, you change the y. So it's going to be, the reflection is going to be negative 5 and 6. So you want to change that, and that's all you do. All right, you are going to probably have a test this weekend. Let's take a look at this one. Are they similar? Well, let's separate them. You have the great big triangle that looks like that, and then you have the little triangle that looks like that. They both have this angle in common, plus this angle right here is in common to both of these. So this would be yes, and it would be angle similarity. These are pretty easy, actually. Remember to separate them. All right, let's talk about today's work now. This is going to get a little interesting. Copy that down. Okay, now what I think we should do is label this. So let's label it A, B, C, and D, or D. Okay? Now there are 3 triangles here and they're all similar. Okay, so I want you to see this. You have a baby triangle, which is number 1, and I'm going to draw this one like this. Exactly the way it looks. So that's the baby triangle. So this would be ABD. And then you have number 2, which is a medium-sized triangle, which looks like this. And I want you to draw these. And this one would be BCD. okay? And then finally, you got the great big triangle. The big triangle, which is ACD. Copy that down. So, from this one triangle, we have three triangles. The baby, the middle, and then the great big one. Now, when you look at this, you have a short leg, a long leg, and then the hypotenuse. Write that down. Short leg, long leg, and hypotenuse. And then finally, this would be short leg, long leg, and then the hypotenuse. Okay? So now watch. If they give you a pattern, you have to follow that pattern. Suppose they give you AB over AD. Let's take a look at that. Well, AB is a short leg, and AD is the hypotenuse. And that's the pattern they want. So, what would be the short leg on this one? So the short leg would be BD, and the hypotenuse would be DC, or CD. And that's it. This one, the short leg would be AD, and the long leg would be DC, or CD. And that's how you do that. Or the, oh, it shouldn't be the long leg, it should be the hypotenuse. It should be AC. Okay, so be careful with that. Once they establish a pattern, you got to follow that pattern. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to draw this triangle here, and then I want you to separate it into three triangles. So draw that triangle, and then let's separate it into three triangles. Okay, so you have the baby triangle, which looks like this. And this is X and Y, and this is 4. Then you have the medium-sized triangle, which looks like this. And this is X and Z and 20. And then finally you have the great big triangle, which is going to look like this. And this is going to be Y and Z, and you got to add these up for this one, so that's 24. Okay, that's what you get right there. Now let's figure this out. All right, so you notice that this one has an X, and this one has an X. So we could use these two triangles here. So we could say short leg over long leg. So short leg over long leg. So the short leg is 4, and the long leg is X. And then on this triangle, the short leg is X, and the long leg is 20. Now if you cross multiply, you're going to get 80 is equal to X squared. And then to get rid of this, you're going to do the square root of 80. So X is equal to the square root of 80. Get your calculators out. Now I want you to leave X as the square root of 80, and you'll see Y in a minute. Okay. So to get Y, let's change this to the square root of 80. All right. Now remember Pythagorean's theorem? The ones that come together, that hit at the box, go together. So these two go together. So it's going to be 4 squared plus the square root of 80 squared is equal to Y squared. Okay, we're almost done. This cancels, by the way. So you get 16 plus 80 is equal to Y squared. So Y is going to be the square root of 96. So at this point, you can use your calculator. So 96 shift square root. Now I want you to do that. I get 9.8. Okay, now, again, we now have Y. So here is Y. So we want to do the square root of 96. So put the square root of 96 here. Don't change it, okay? We're looking for z on this triangle. So these two go together, come together, go together. So it's going to be the square root of 96 squared plus z squared is equal to the hypotenuse squared. And that's 24. This cancels. So you get 96 plus z squared is equal to whatever that is. So 24 times 24, press equals, and then minus 96, I get 480. So z squared is equal to 480, and then you're going to do the square root of both sides. So z is going to be the square root of 480. So shift, square root, and I get 21.9. Okay, 21.9 is what I get right there. Now, I know that's a lot of work, but that's the way we're going to do it. Okay, short leg, long leg, and hypotenuse. All right, let me make one up, and then I'll give you your work. So draw this same triangle, a big right triangle, okay, and then put a right angle here, okay, and then let me just put some numbers in here. Let's just put 5, 8, x, y, and z. Copy that down. Okay, step 1, I want you to break this up into 3 triangles. Okay, so step 1, you have a right triangle here. So the baby triangle looks like this. And try to draw it the way it looks. Okay. So the baby triangle is a 5, a y, and an x. Then you have a medium-sized triangle, which looks like this. So this triangle looks like this. And so this is x and 8 and z. Okay? And then you have a great big triangle, which is y, z, and 8. All right, copy that down. All right, now, you're looking for a common link. This one has a y, but then it's got an x and a z. We don't want that one. Okay? So let's see what we have here and see if I missed something here. All right, so we want to find x first. Okay, so let's put the x's together here. All right, now watch carefully. So we have short leg. We want to use that one because we have a number. And we're looking for x, and that's the long leg. So short leg, long leg. So put 5 over x and put SL, LL. And then over here, you want to do short leg, which is this one, which is x. Short leg over long leg, which is 8. And that should work. Okay? Now you're going to have to be creative and figure some of this out. So that's going to be 80, or 40 rather, equals x times x is x squared. And then you're going to do the square root. So this gives you the square root of 40. Okay? So x is the square root of 40. So what you can do now that we have one answer, x, y, and z, and x is the square root of 40. All right, so since you have one answer, you can scratch out this x here and put the square root of 40 and then do Pythagorean's theorem. So today, yeah, obviously we're doing Pythagorean's theorem. So this is going to be 5 squared plus the square root of 40 squared is equal to the hypotenuse squared. Okay, remember, come together, go together, if they hit that box. So that's 25 plus 40 is equal to y squared. So y is going to be the square root of 65. So put the square root of 65, like that. And now that we have y, we can go ahead and use this great big triangle and scratch this out and put the square root of 65 and then do Pythagorean's theorem on this one to get z. Okay, so watch what I do. All right, so on this one you're going to have the square root of 65 squared plus z squared is equal to 8 squared. This cancels, so I get 65 plus z squared is equal to 64. I'm going to subtract and then take the square root. So z is equal to the square root. Now my number is going to be a negative here, and really you shouldn't end up with a negative. That tells you my numbers that I picked were really not good choices. But anyway, we'll put a -1, and then we're going to do the square root. Now you really can't take the square root of a -1, but on your paper today you won't have that. So we'll just put the square root of -1 for now. This one you can't really do, but these you can figure out on your calculator. So let's do that. So put 40 shift square root, and I get 6.3. So I want both answers. Press 65 shift square root, and I get 8.1. Okay, this one you can't do the square root of a negative number. Again, the reason why that worked out is because my numbers were not very good choices. Anyway, there we go. That's what we're doing today. All right. So today you're doing your workbook, and I want you to start on numbers 4 through 10, and then go to 16 through 19, page 328. All right, have a good morning.